Hello everyone. Hi, I'm back again with yet another tutorial for my Paint Your Style challenge. And what we will be painting is this picture. Let me just put it up on the screen right now. This is what we will be painting today. And here is a reference. This is from Unsplash. And I will link the reference in the description later, but this is what we are painting today. I'm going to leave it here while I do this quick sketch. I'm just drawing the horizon line. There is a small island right here. I'm not trying to copy it. I'm just trying to get the bigger shapes in. And that's it. And then there is a stone right here, a big rock right here. A little lower in the frame, but I'm going to draw it. It is a little smaller, but I'm making it big because I want the reflections to be the highlight of my artwork. So I'm just kind of making it bigger than it is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with wet on wet. I'm using very minimal colors. I'm trying to use only ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson or any other crimson that you have, and a little bit of Payne's gray. If you don't have Payne's gray, we can probably use a red brown to mix it with ultramarine blue to get the darker shades. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to I'm going to try and mix everything on the paper. I'm blending in on the paper. I'm not mixing the shades ahead of time. And the paper I'm using is a journal by C. White of Britain. Brighton is the, so this paper isn't 100%, it is 100% cotton paper, but it is not the 300 GSM. It is probably, 190 GSM or a 220 GSM. So I want to see if, I was surprised when I painted this. It held the watercolor really well without buckling. So yeah, this is what I'm doing, and I've just taped the paper and sketched it. So let's start. I'm going to go wet on wet. So I'm going to wet the entire paper. And the reason I'm going wet on wet is because the background is really smooth, the water is really calm, and the blends have to be really soft. That's what I want to achieve in the painting. So wet my paper. I'm seeing there are no puddles, so I can just start. I'm going to start with alizarin crimson first. I'm going to mix it here, really dilute, and I'm going to go in at places. And the watercolor dries lighter than what it appears when it's wet, so you can go a bit darker while you're painting. Be mindful that you don't have any puddles forming. Now I am going to go in with the blue on the top, and then there is a lot of blue here. And since the mountains are silhouettes, we don't need to worry about the color bleeding. So that's my horizon line. And then there is this stock line which is straight. So I'm going to try and do that now while my paper is still wet and not, not too wet but damp, so that this doesn't spread out and one single stroke. Now I'm going to clean my brush, and with a damp brush I'm going to just spread this color to get a smoother blend. And then I'm going to go in with more blue for the bottom. And you see my paper is already drying up here, so I'm going to go in with my damp brush and then smooth this out. I'm going to wait for the entire paper to dry up before I go in with the next layer. So instead of waiting too long, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just dry up with a heat gun. So I'm going to mute myself. Hello, hello. Thank you for chatting, and thank you for joining me here. If you have any questions, I can take them now. Um, my paper is dried. I always check my paper for the dampness with the back of my hand, and that's mainly because your hands could have some oils, natural oils, and which you don't want to transfer on the paper while painting with watercolor. So this is dry, and what I'm going to do now is re-wet, but only the bottom part, because I think the sky looks fine to me. I'm going to start from here. Every time you go in with the brush, please clean the brush. You do not want to move the pigment and make your paper dirty. So by dirty, I don't mean the brush is dirty, but you do not want the blues to mix into the pink, and you don't want transferring the pigment. So then try to, every time you go wet your paper, you clean your brush. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Lives become more fun when, we interact with each other. Now I want this part, it looks very pale and dull, so I'm going to add my pink here. And once I've added the pink, I'm going to deepen my blue. Now, the most beautiful part of this painting, which really kind of attracted me, is, hold on, I don't know if you can see it here, but this small area where there is slight shadow of the mountain, which is in blue, that subtle shadow, that's really beautiful. And to achieve that, you have to work wet on wet. And since it has no hard lines, no edges, you really need to work wet on wet. And this looks paper white, so what I'm going to do is first lift off all the excess water if there is any, and then go in with my alizarin crimson and run past it. That's it. Be confident in your strokes and try to draw in straight lines. Don't overthink your strokes. um, Otherwise it shows in your painting as, um, I don't know, it just shows in your painting that you were overthinking it, and I've learned it the hard way. And that's about it. I think I quite like what I see here. I might just deepen the red on the corner just a little bit. I have completely wiped off my brush with whatever paint it might have. And that's it. Now I'm going to dry it once again before I go in and paint the mountains. And for the mountains, I think we're going to mix ultramarine blue with a little bit of, let me see if I can get it here. So here, first let's mix it while it's drying. So here is my ultramarine blue, crimson, I'll probably start with this shade and then mix a bit of burnt sienna probably, or a red brown. Let me see if that's the shade that I want. Probably for the stone this shade might work, but for the darkest value of my mountain, I'll probably go in with Payne's Gray. So yeah, these are the shades that I'll be using. Hi Tara, thank you for joining. I think my paper is still wet, so I'm going to try and dry it. I'm going to mute myself right now. The paper is holding pretty well. As you can see, there is no warping, there is nothing, no puddling, nothing happening. So I quite like the paper. Just filling in. Don't forget where your sketches. I did that last time and I kind of lost the perspective and painted the mountains a bit different. Doesn't show, but just saying, don't forget where your lines are. So why I went with the dark and then with Payne's Gray is because there is a bit of mist here, and I'm not sure how to explain this, but there is a bit of color difference in this side. So I wanted to achieve it. Now what I'm doing next is going in with my clean damp brush and wetting the mountain. And then I'm going to go in with Payne's Gray back again. I hope this makes sense and I hope you're all enjoying watching me paint. Is any one of you painting along? That'll be cool. So now that I've got these, while this dries, I'm going to paint the smaller island here. Also, I can start with the stone on the bottom. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to build depth. So first is I'm going in with the lightest shade of the stone. Now to build texture, going in to drop a few dark shades. And now for the shadow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with my damp brush and pull the paint down. First, I'm going to just follow the pencil drawing that I had, and then I'm going to go with a very diluted Payne's Gray and a little bit of ultramarine blue, and then fill in the base for the reflection. I'm not going to overwork it, not going to try too hard since I already wet it. Just going to fill in with, and because it's calm water, you don't want to show any ripples or anything. And now with my thinnest brush, I'm just going to soften the edges and then deepen the base. For that, I'm using again the Payne's Gray on the base, and it is of the most creamiest consistency. There is no water on my brush. I know the camera is shaky right now because my board is shaking because of my hand movement. I'm so sorry about that. It's kind of unavoidable at the point that I am at. So that's that. The stone is done. Now we're going to go in with the next layer of the mountain. I think this is dried up. And I'm doing this without taping the horizon line, but if you think you will end up with a wonky horizon line, feel free to tape it before you paint the mountains. It just helps with confident strokes. There's a bit of shadow or some kind of dark landmass here. So that's it. I think we are done with our painting today. I'm going to add a few birds. I did not add it here, but I think I will add it in this one. I hope you enjoyed watching me paint, and let me know if you have any ideas that you would want me to paint, or any subject that you'd like to see me paint online on live. uh, Drop me a comment and I'd love to do that for you. um, and thank you so much for joining today. And I have one last thing. If you would want to join the Paint Your Style challenge, just write it in the comment and I'll send you where you can access all the past pictures and references and how we do it, what we do, and things like that. I'll definitely let you know in the description. And if you still have any questions, do let me know. Thanks and bye now.